This Ricer Who Dare Wins contest is brought to you in association with All or Nothing, the Mod Musical, P.J. Brown Construction, and Ricer High Performance Screws. Introducing first, standing in the blue corner and representing the Light to Box Gym in Red Hill, Scott the Flame Charlton. And standing across the ring in the red corner, representing Gym London South, Danny Anderson. This light cruiserweight contest will be fought over 3 two-minute rounds. Your Queensbury referee in charge of the action, Mr. Ken Curtis.
So a nice little local derby in the offing in the light cruiserweight division as two fighters contest the pride of Surrey as well as the winner in this contest. Scott Charlton from Hawley in Surrey up against Danny Anderson from New Addington in the same county.
I've got to say also, Phil, I've always been pretty impressed with the New Addington fighters. They're good lads, they're well trained. I'm not trying to say, of course, that Charlton isn't. They just seem to have that je ne sais quoi.
They're both from good gyms, Gym London South for Danny Anderson, and the Like to Box stable, which has produced quite a few fighters on tonight's bill for Scott Charlton. Charlton, incidentally, in the red and white trunks. The flame on his waistband, you might just be able to see that.
Well, of course, Anderson will be trying to distinguish this particular flame as this one goes on, and we'll wait and see about that. One thing I will say for Scott Charlton, he's been very cool under bits of pressure that have occurred in this first round.
Anderson slightly the taller of the two. He's the one, for the most part, taking centre ring and looking to be the aggressor, but now here comes Charlton back again.
And of course, the one thing they both have in common is their lack of experience. And there's only one way to get that.
Yeah, not for sale in the shops. You've got to do the rounds in the ring, so this will all be good experience for them. Anderson again looking to be the aggressor, trying to force Charlton back. Looking behind that left jab. Just feinting to come in. And just probing here, looking for an opening, Anderson.
And Scott Charlton, on the other hand, you know, every time he attacks, he's always got his mind on defence, if you get my drift.
Yeah, wants to keep the back door shut, but interesting first round. I'd have to say Anderson tipping it for me. Comes from a Thai boxing background, as Danny Anderson, as do quite a few these days, mixed martial arts or Thai boxing, quite often the way into the fight game under the Queensbury rules for many of these boxers. Of course, different skills required for the different disciplines though, so they don't necessarily translate easily.
10 seconds, corners, 10 seconds.
And Anderson, another one who opts to stand all the way through the interval between the rounds.
And you know what my dad and another saying, if you get the chance to rest, take it. Because you never know when you'll need it, Phil. Anyway, round 2, and Danny Anderson's taken the opener. Not by a great deal, a little bit of a backhander there from Anderson. Accidentally, I suspect. Oh, lovely right hand back from Scott Charlton. Well, is this flame about to burn bright?
It certainly looks like he's happy on the sort of counter, Charlton. He's waiting for Anderson to make his move and then looking to come in. Anderson still happy to be the aggressor, to make the first move.
but Charlton's very evasive, isn't it, at the same time?
It's an interesting style of Charlton's. I've been trying to work out who it reminds me of. I'm not quite sure yet. He's very sort of chest on, front on all the time. But generally keeps his hands held nice and high. Tries to move his head.
Yeah, Charlton's, he's oddly effective, isn't he? In a very strange kind of way. You know, at the point I made earlier in the first round, you know, even though he's attacking, he's always mindful that he can pull back at the same time.
Yeah, it's a style very much of his own, but it clearly works for him, and it does pose a problem, and a couple of times that right hand has come through really nicely and found the target, that target being the chin of Danny Anderson, so there is definitely something to work with here for Charlton.
Well, it's not an altogether positive approach, unlike Anderson's, but as you so rightly said, Phil, it works for him.
Better second round definitely for Charlton. Whether it was enough to win the second round, matter for conjecture. There he is, another one who works in the car business when he's outside of the ring.
As what, Phil?
As a car detailer, so my notes say. I'm not quite sure what that is. Now you've really put me on the spot, hasn't it? I presume that's something to do with bodywork or whatever. Who knows? We'll ask him later what a car detailer does. Answers on a postcard.
It could be retailer.
10 seconds.
Spelled wrong.
Could be a typo. Anyway, he's got work to do with his hands here in these closing 2 minutes. Can he do a job on Danny Anderson?
Seconds out, third and final round.
Well, here we go then, third and final session in our cruiserweight contest here, and Danny Anderson in the black shorts, predominantly anyway. Looks like he might have got this one sewn up, but he's got a man who's pretty keen in front of him in the shape of Scott Charlton.
Well, it's interesting, tonight's promotion is named Who Dares Wins, and you feel like that could be very applicable in this final round. I just don't know that Charlton has dared so far. He's kind of kept a little bit in reserve.
Well, he did land a right hand a minute ago, you know, that really did bother Anderson.
Got to go for it now. Anderson coming forward once more.
Well, I was at a show once that was actually dubbed Who Dares Wins, and ultimately it was a case of who cares who wins. But both these lads sincerely do. I
don't think Anderson has ever quite come fully to terms with the slightly awkward style of his opponent.
Well, despite the moments of impressiveness from Charlton, I think Anderson's going to nick this. Well, there's no doubt about it. The flame has shone bright, and then it's gone down again. It's shone again. It's gone down again, but it never burned brightly consistently.
Yeah, I think certainly on punches thrown and punches landed, Anderson would be quite comfortably ahead. Charlton's moments of joy have not quite been frequent enough for me.
Well, there's the final bell.
Great contest. Great embrace between the two. Little rueful glance across to his corner from Scott Charlton. And once again, we'll leave it in the hands of the judges to decide the winner of this light cruiserweight contest. Both men, incidentally, have been winners and losers before in the league, so it won't be a new experience either way. But, a good little contest for the boxing supporters ringside here at the Millennium Arena to enjoy. And as I mentioned at the start, a little bit of pride of Surrey at stake as well. So two boxers who don't live too far apart from each other. Just wondering who will come out on top in this Queensbury Boxing Derby.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for our final contestants this evening. Come on! 3 exciting rounds, and we go to our judges' scorecards. Your winner by unanimous decision in the red corner, Danny Anderson.
Yeah, the flame flickered for a while for Scott Charlton, but in the end, it's Dan the man.
Phil Duffel, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you.